say that, yes, even though it was a 5-4 decision, that's interesting to me. But it's really a states' rights decision. And that's what we have to think about and look at this court. What does this court do? This court wants to uphold the Constitution, and they also are a court that respect states' rights. And we know that. So as far as the Arizona ruling, we'll get through that. Actually, I'll save that because I know Larry is going to want to discuss that one with me. Should we go through the tale of two conventions? So I'll just take you back not so long ago to the RNC. You think of that Republican National Convention happening with so much energy in Milwaukee, not so far. What is it? Without a ton of traffic? If it's not a ton of traffic, you're looking at 90 minutes is less than 2 hours from Chicago to Milwaukee. I have a lot of family and friends in that area, and I worked at CBS in Chicago for a time. So you think about the tale of two conventions. RNC, Trump had survived that assassination attempt that happened here in Butler, Pennsylvania. We did not know yet during that RNC convention. What did we not know? We did not know about the jobs report that was, by all accounts, a manipulated jobs report that came out all the way last spring when we were being lied to by our government. And I believe that this is a huge story that I'm like a dog on a bone with. I'm not going to let this go because, in my humble opinion, not only were these numbers manipulated, because some of you may say, well, Dawn, come on now. They do always come out with the revision. They give the raw numbers and the raw data. And then sometimes, they'll tweak it. But this is not a tweak. More than 800,000 jobs that were not. It was just a lie. It was a lie, and somebody somewhere along the line manipulated these numbers, released it, and then there was a cover up, and they were trying to cover. This is the allegation that they were trying to cover this up and keep the lid on it until after November 5th, until somebody, and Trump called him a patriot. Somebody came forth and said this is just wrong. This is too big a lie. And release that. The fact that the media is not, and journalists are not, we should be all over this as a nation. And it just shows you how the media is complicit. What a lie. So we'll go through the lies and the lies that people aren't talking about. I'm going to back into this because Kamala, quite frankly, talking about her childhood. When have you gone on a job interview and she turns 60 this October? Okay, so it's not like she's a young, 20-something-year-old that might talk about high school or something of that nature in a job interview. This is a middle-aged woman who's going for the biggest job in the country and, by all accounts, one of the most powerful positions in the world. And she's going on and on and on about her personal life. It's all about Kamala, isn't it? It's all about her upbringing, her mother. Who is she not? And I always talk about bias by omission, but let's talk about Kamala's words by omission. What is she not talking about? So I'll get into all of that, and I think that tells you a lot. What people are purposely omitting in a well-thought-out speech, in a well-thought-out convention. What did they purposely leave out? It tells you so much more about her. But she was talking about her childhood, her husband, she didn't even talk about college as much. It was more about her childhood, her upbringing. It's just weird. But let's get to Trump last night reacting. It's less than 10 minutes. I logged this in real time and had sent it out, and I hope that they have their notifications down on our team here because I did send it out late. All right, Henry, take us through. This is Henry Machette. We have to think about like we have Greg's cut sheet, the Machettes, mashing it up. I don't know. I have to think of some alliteration here. Henry is going to bring us through, and Jimmy Callier, great engineer, born and raised in South Philadelphia, a legally blind man who sees so much more, has so much more vision than most of us, and is a great listener too, by the way. All right, take us through let's go through it, Henry, as Trump is reacting. We can't hear you. That's all right. Take us through the first one, and we'll fix your audio.
President of the United States, former President Donald Trump. Mr. President, thank you for joining us. You were truth socialing along this speech. What is your first reaction to it real time tonight?
Well, the biggest reaction is, why didn't she do the things that she's complaining about?
Boom.
All of these things that she talked about, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do everything, but she didn't do any of it. She could have done it 3.5 years ago. She could do it tonight by leaving the auditorium and going to Washington, D.C., and closing the border. She doesn't need a bill. I didn't have a bill. I closed the border and created the safest border we've ever had in the history of our country. She could have done all of these things, and she could still do them. She's got 4.5, 5 months left. She can go there right now. She can do all of the things, many of the things that she's talking about.
Yeah, why wait? You're in office. Do it now.
There's a lot of complaining. She didn't talk about China. She didn't talk about fracking. She didn't talk about crime. She didn't talk about 70% of our people are living in poverty. She didn't talk about housing, really. The trade deficit. She didn't talk about child trafficking that she's allowed to happen because she was the border czar and she presided over the weakest border in the history of our country. It's an invasion. I was there today, as you know, Brett. It's an invasion of our country taking place at our border, our southern
And we'll
border.
talk about that more. So stop it for a second. Let me so I'll take you through it. And this was, like I say, it was less than 10 minutes. And by the way, the so-called mainstream media with the headlines that the Fox anchors shut down a, rambling Trump. Was he rambling just now? 855-839-1210. You tell me, was that rambling? Because I don't think it was. I think, first of all, he is high energy. And he clearly is engaged, and he is giving a true reaction to what she just talked about, okay? But I don't think that was rambling at all, as he's saying what she did not speak about. That's legit. That's a good reaction, as he's saying she did not bring up China. She did not speak about fracking, and this goes to Pennsylvania. And obviously, think about in his first minute, he basically was bringing up Pennsylvania. There's another reference to Pennsylvania, but in his first minute of reacting, he's bringing up Pennsylvania. I'm telling you, we are the key. We right here in Pennsylvania, we are the key. Everybody knows it. But he talks about the fact that she omitted crime, talking about the housing crisis. People can't find housing. It's a real problem, and in part, these high interest rates, and talking about the weak border. Now, the so-called mainstream media, what are they talking about? Oh, well, what Fox News and WPHT and talk radio, what they're not saying is we've had the lowest numbers of crossing this month. Yeah, you know why? Because they already let in anywhere from, depending on who you listen to, anywhere from 15 to 20 million people come in. So that's kind of like letting your, letting your home and your neighborhood get flooded, and then you decide to reinforce the dam after everything's flooded, right? And now you're trying to shop vac everything out. I mean, I always want to give you what the media is saying, give you these talking points. Martha then, love Martha, love her. She then asks President Trump about Project 2025. And before Trump came on, you can always tell with Martha what she's fired up about. And this is what she called earlier the Project 2025 lie. And it is a lie. It's a huge lie that they continue to carry. And one of my teenage sons said, Mom, what about this Project 2025? And I said, I will always just go to the research and I'll say, look, this is what Trump issued. And he continues to say, this is not my policy. Much of it, some of it, it does come from people who used to be in my administration in the past 4 years ago, but he denounces some of it. Some of it he doesn't like at all and has slammed. So it's a big lie that they keep bringing up, and they seem to be obsessed about it. But then as soon as Martha asks about Project 2025, Trump quickly answers that because he says, because I think at this point he feels like, how much more can I say? This is not mine. This is not me. I don't endorse it. I've slammed part of it. This is just a media lie that is being propelled by the media and social media. And so he quickly pivots he keeps on talking. He goes back to saying, By the way, she didn't talk about interest rates. He can't believe his reaction to me is, oh my goodness, I can't believe she didn't talk about this. She didn't address this, and he keeps on going through that list. But I want to skip forward. This is about 11:23 ish p.m. Again, it's a very quick interview because he's talking last night. He's reacting to this, and he's not speaking slowly like she spoke while she's reading the prompter. But what does he say about Kamala and the fact that she is not a capitalist? And this is a reference to her father, why one of the reasons she doesn't want the other Donald on that stage or even at her convention, the other Donald being her father, who is a Marxist economics professor who was at Madison, Wisconsin, where I once lived and I worked in television, but at the end of the day was a highly respected, touted economist at Stanford, and he is a Marxist. So listen to what Trump says. This is Trump talking about, just continue it on. He'll say it any second here. He says at 11:23, talks about the fact that that Kamala is a Marxist.
Harris, like many Democrats in this hall throughout this week, have used the bipartisan Senate bill and your efforts to lobby Republicans not to move forward with that, to use the issue in this election as part of this speech. She said she will sign that bipartisan bill. She, to your point, doesn't talk about executive orders that could have been launched in the beginning of the Biden administration. But how do you respond to that? And are you ready to debate Kamala Harris on September 10th, given what you heard tonight?
Well, number one debate on September 4th at Fox, and she turned it down. Because as you know, Brett, I was willing to debate with you and Martha. I was going to debate on September 4th. She turned it down. And I'm willing to debate on, I don't like ABC. I think ABC is probably the worst of the group. But I'm willing to do ABC. I was willing to do CNN with Joe Biden, and you saw what happened there. I mean, CNN does not treat me or Republicans very good. But I was willing to do it because it was the only way I could get to debate him and ask him how that turned out. But look, I am willing to debate, and I think we should do much more than one debate. But you know better than anybody, I'm ready, willing, and able because I told you yes, and she turned you down.
And on
Yes, so he's talking about as far as the immigration bill and that so-called bipartisan bill, they all keep talking about that. And the honest to gosh truth, and I'm not going to say a lot about this because I know Larry Bear, my husband, Larry Menti, is going to talk more about this too. It's a big lie because, again, that bipartisan bill came years into the Biden administration, 3 years in, after this floodgate had been opened up. And so it's disingenuous for Democrats, and especially the Vice President of the United States of America, to claim that it's Trump's fault and to blame Trump on this because Biden could have done it on day one as Trump did. They did nothing. And then finally, what was it, June at some point? It was at some point this summer that finally, amid all of the criticism, and Biden realized that his numbers were down. It wasn't because Biden-Harris cared about any of us or the women and girls in particular being raped and murdered across the country, or these ex-cons being let out of, Venezuela and coming into our country from prisons and attacking us, or just in general, these rings of crimes, these burglary rings that I've talked a lot about that are a big deal here in Philadelphia, here in our suburbs. If you're in Bucks, especially in Montgomery County, especially in Delaware County, especially if you're in Chester County, you are living with this. You are experiencing this. And my police sources say this continues. They are burglary rings made up of illegals from around the world, including, and I went into a big rant on this, I don't know, like a month ago, because of my police sources telling me that some of these individuals, yes, they're working for the cartels, but they are not South American. They are not Mexican. They're from other parts of the world, and they have been radicalized, if you will, by those Middle East folks that are plotting against us. And so that's a real concern. This is all real. And so Trump going on about that one. So we'll talk about it. I'm getting a text, so I'll tell you about this in a moment. At the end of the day, Trump, what struck me in the very, very end, if we can go to this, and this was the final 2 minutes of this interview, in the final 2 minutes of the total interview, when Trump talks about Kemp, that fence being mended with Georgia, with Kemp, and that's important, and then also is asked about RFK Jr. Let's just play the final end of that if we can.
Had with those voters.
No, she's not having success. I'm having success. I'm doing great with the Hispanic voters. I'm doing great with black men. I'm doing great with women because women want safety. They want safety. And they don't have safety when they have somebody allowing 20 million people into our country, many of them very dangerous people. No, it's only in your eyes that they have that, Martha. We're doing very well in the polls. We're leading in most of the polls. And in the swing states, we're leading in almost every one of them.
Mr.
In
President, let me
Michigan,
interrupt.
the auto workers are voting for me because you're not going to have an auto industry if she gets elected.
Mr.
They're going
President,
to
two
all
quick
electric
things.
cars. All electric cars are going to be made in China. And you're not going to have, you literally will not have an auto industry. The United Auto Workers ought to be ashamed of themselves. They sold the workers down the tubes.
Two quick things as we wrap up here, Mr. President. Tomorrow, do you expect to be endorsed by Robert F. Kennedy Jr.? And are you making a specific effort in Georgia to make up, if you will, with the governor of Georgia, Brian Kemp?
Well, I just saw Brian on a very good man. Did you ever hear of a man named Sean Hannity? And he was interviewed by Sean Hannity, and he was very nice, and he said he wants Trump to win, and he's going to work with me 100%, and I think we're going to have a very good relationship with Brian Kemp, and that was on just before you people went on with that speech that we just listened to.
That was an important making up. So we'll talk more around the corner. I'm up against a tough break here. Larry Menti will be calling in shortly. We have a lot breaking, a lot developing. Serious times. Let's also watch for the news drops that you know will happen this on a Friday, the week before Labor Day. This is The Dawn Show. Dawn Stensland here, 855-839-1210. Be right back.
This is Larry Steinhaus with Investor Schooling. Are you ready for retirement? Have you prepared everything you need? Well, in Investor Schooling, we will teach you ways to better prepare for your retirement using real estate and the stock market. But you need to learn how to do it right, and that's what we teach. At Investor Schooling, we sell nothing but education. Come to Investor Schooling and learn how to have a better retirement. Go to investorschooling.com and RSVP right now for this Thursday's class at 7 o'clock. Go to investorschooling.com. That's investorschooling.com. This is Larry Steinhaus with Investor Schooling. Are you tired of hearing about the recession that's coming? Are you prepared for it? Well, listen, at investorschooling.com, we're going to teach you ways to prepare for the recession that you didn't even know existed. We're going to teach you strategies on how to use real estate. We're going to teach you strategies how to use the stock market properly. That's right, you can even make money in the stock market when the stock market goes down. Hey, go to investorschooling.com and register for a free class this Thursday night, and you will learn all of these techniques. Go to investorschooling.com right now, RSVP for this Thursday. We'll see you there.
We don't care who you vote for in the upcoming election. You know why? Because this is not a political ad. Jim Cipriotti and the Retire Ready Financial Group meet with people every day wondering if they should be doing something different with their money because it's an election year. At Retire Ready Financial Group, we want you to know where your money is, how it's performing, and if the market does go down, how does it affect your retirement? We call it a portfolio snapshot, and we do it at no charge. Our goal is for you to have confidence as you enter retirement, confidence to spend, and confidence that you won't run out of money. Let's vote those election worries right out of your retirement. For your complimentary portfolio snapshot, call 610-894-7415. That's 610-894-7415, or go to retirereadyfg.com. Investment advisory services offered through Retire Ready Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through James V. Cipriotti, Retire Ready Financial Group, LLC. NPN number 2083768.
40 days to lose up to 40-plus pounds with NJ Diet. It only takes 40 days to lose a contractually guaranteed 20 to 40-plus pounds. NJ Diet uses your hair, saliva, and blood work to personalize supplements that will target your hormonal imbalances so you can lose that weight. Then NJ Diet uses your DNA info to help you keep it off. Call Dr. T, 855-5NJ-DIET, or go to njdiet.com. 40 days up to 40 pounds, 40 days up to 40 pounds, NJ Diet.
Fantasy freaks and geeks. What's cracking? It's your boy James Coe, back with my brand new project, the Sleeper King Football Podcast. Look, I get it, okay? There's a lot of fantasy pods out there, but we're going to keep this one light, 15 to 20 minutes, 4 to 5 times a week, and man, we are going to pack it with all the info you need. Season long, weekly projections, and of course, sleepers. Follow and listen to the Sleeper King Football Podcast on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
The good and bad with home improvement projects. The good, you save a buck or two. The bad.
Kevin, there's no hot water.
So you move on to the car.
Kevin, what's with the car?
Good news, you can recover from these.
Kevin!
Well, most all of them. But when it comes to your retirement, a mistake can be devastating. Call Joe Yakovich at JML Financial Group. He's been helping folks prepare for retirement for over 30 years. That's why he's able to correct your do-it-yourself problems before they're problems. Get your complimentary assessment of where you are now and look at some of the retirement boxes you haven't even thought of.
Kevin!
You can't YouTube your retirement. Call Joe Yakovich at 856-925-6674 or visit jmlfinancialgroup.com. Securities and investment advisory services offered through Brokers International Financial Services, LLC, member SIPC. Brokers International Financial Services, LLC is not an affiliated company.
Hey, it's Rich Zioli. We all love summer, right? But the beach isn't just for summer. In fact, the beach, and in particular the Cape May beach, is just beautiful in the fall. If you haven't been to Cape May in the fall, you're missing out, and you should book your stay at the Grand Hotel of Cape May for a September to remember. The Grand offers special midweek packages so you can enjoy the beach without breaking the bank. Stay 2 nights and save 10%. Stay 3 nights, get 10% off and $55 a night in resort credits. Stay 5 nights, you're going to get 10% off and $65 a night in resort credits, and they can be used at Hemingway's for food and drink, the gift shop, and so much more. The Grand offers guest rooms, suites, and townhomes equipped with a kitchenette, and they have 2 huge heated pools, 1 outdoor and 1 indoor. I'm telling you, the Grand is my happy place, and you will not be disappointed. Book directly with them for the best rates. Book your stay today at 800-257-8550 or visit them online at grandhotelcapemay.com. And our next live show is Friday, September 6th. So book your stay today, grandhotelcapemay.com.
Wawa has new Southwest flavors like the roasted chicken fajita veggie quesadilla.
Fajita veggies?
Or the beefsteak burrito with salsa roja.
Salsa roja? Love.
You can also add fire-roasted corn and crispy jalapenos.
No way. All from Wawa.
Oh, you bet. Wawa's always keeping things fresh. And this time, it's with delicious Southwest flavors. Try them in a burrito, bowl, or quesadilla and build it just how you like it. Gotta have a Wawa.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 103.9 FM.
Kamala Harris formally accepts the Democratic nomination for president on the DNC's final night in Chicago. The Philly teacher who inspired Quinta Brunson to make Abbott Elementary will address the PA Conference for Women this November, and a Jersey Shore shelter for abused animals faces an uncertain future because of confusion over zoning laws.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio, now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
At Cherry Hill Volvo, we are offering the C40 lease for 36 months for under $500 to qualified buyers. This is a really fun Volvo to drive. We also have a huge selection of certified Volvos. And what about $15,000 off when leasing a 2024 XC90 hybrid? This is an incredibly fabulous Volvo. It's the Volvo I drive. Visit us here at Cherry Hill Volvo for the attention and respect you deserve.
At Wawa, you can always find the right drinks for the right time. And Wawa's pumpkin drinks are back sooner than ever, so you can enjoy the best of summer and fall. Enjoy a pumpkin brulee milkshake by the pool. Sip a pumpkin cheesecake smoothie while skateboarding. Or take a pumpkin spice iced coffee on a camping trip. At Wawa, anytime is drink time. And now's the time to feel cool and cozy with Wawa's new pumpkin flavors. Available in milkshakes, cream smoothies, and iced coffee. Gotta have a Wawa.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit. 800-329-2121. 800-329-2121. 800-329-2121.
Have you subscribed to our YouTube channel yet? Do it today at 1210 WPHT.
Live and local, Dawn Stensland here. We're taking you through last night, the last night of the DNC. The reaction by Trump, Kamala Harris, and the Kamala lies. And since I always talk about lies by omission, what did she omit? Is Larry here? I'm losing my voice. Sorry, I had to cough there. I had to push the cough button. I really do that. I'm getting all choked up over Larry Menti. Hey, Larry.
What are you getting choked up about? I didn't hear that.
Sorry. No, I literally, right when I was going to you, I literally needed a drink of water. Sorry.
Okay. Are you okay?
Yeah. It's 30 hours of live broadcasting.
Oh, I understand. Does Henry know mouth to mouth?
Sorry.
Wow. You want me to talk?
Jimmy's on the way with some water. I promise you.
No, I got water.
We're getting more.
Okay.
You can never have too much.
So right. I'm so sorry about that. This rarely Liz, Larry knows this rarely happens. I'm all choked up. Mm-hmm. So let's go through it. Your thoughts. Thank you, Jimmy. Jimmy Kelly's bringing me some water. I got all choked up. Sorry. Your reaction to last night, Kamala, then Trump's reacts.
Yeah, well, let's start with Kamala. I really took notice to the fact that she crowed for the longest time about what a great prosecutor she was and who she took on and sexual deviance and fraud cases. And she went on and on and on about her time as district attorney and as her time as attorney general. Then she skipped 6 years, didn't talk about anything from the time she was in the Senate or while she was vice president, just jumped ahead till then because she didn't do anything during those 6 years. Anything that she touched was a failure, and other than that, she really was inactive. She talked a lot, especially as a senator, but she got nothing done. So that really jumped out to me more than anything else because I was waiting for her to say something about, forget the time in the Senate. I'll give her a break on that because she was a freshman senator and you really can't get much done, even though she was the most progressive Democratic senator in the Senate. But there's not much you can do when you're a freshman. So I'll give her a break on that. As vice president, though, she was given a couple things to take care of, and she failed at both. Famously, she was given the border. She was the border czar, even though everybody denies that now. And everybody that denies that is on tape somewhere calling her the border czar. But they all deny it now, that she wasn't really in charge of the border, but she was.
Yes.
The other thing she was in charge of is voting integrity. And she was sent down to Georgia to try to make sure that bill that they said was another Jim Crow law, which, by the way, after it was passed, more people voted than before the law. But they said it was going to keep people away from the polls, and it was repressing votes, and she went down there to stop that. And as I just told you, it passed. She was a non-entity for 3 years. And so that jumped out at me more than anything else. As for Donald Trump, I read his Truth Social, and some of the stuff you kind of wish he didn't say, but it's Trump being Trump. And I'm not one of those in the choir that says, oh, why doesn't he stick to policy? Because he's been pretty successful doing exactly what he's doing, and he gets a lot of attention for it. But my favorite Truth Social post, I don't know what you call them. It's not a tweet, is it? Is it truthy? I don't know. But he said, is she talking about me? That was funny. Yeah, that was really funny. But, yeah, what about you? What have you been saying all morning?
Well, one thing that I said, and we'll get into it. We'll play the audio of one thing that she talked about. The first part is getting a ton of play. The first part where she says he's unserious, but then they cut it off. So if we just let that roll a little bit, and thank you, Henry Meshett, who's here and found this. If we let it roll a little, she says a huge lie about a group of Americans who gathered on January 6th. Listen in.
Donald Trump is an unserious man.
We all heard this.
But the consequences of putting Donald Trump back in the White House are extremely serious.
They are serious. They'd be seriously awesome.
Consider not only the chaos and calamity when he was in office, but also the gravity of what has happened since he lost the last election. Donald Trump tried to throw away your votes. When he failed, he sent an armed mob to the United States Capitol where they assaulted law enforcement officers.
So that struck me because I've often said, Larry, you've heard me say it. I've said it on this show. I've said it a lot, that the reason I know for sure that the people who went on January 6th to that rally, the vast majority of the huge crowd, by the way, many of them from our area who went on buses, came home on the buses, never went to the Capitol. But that crowd, a Second Amendment crowd, they did not bring their firearms. They did not bring their firearms. There's no evidence. I have never heard of anybody being caught with any kind of a firearm where they had brought and been armed and went there, which is why I've long said, oh no, these are individuals. Trust me, they have more than one firearm. These are Second Amendment people. Larry and I, Larry, we've talked about this. Some of my family members, if they wanted to do something, they would have brought their guns. They left their guns home. For her to say that he sent an armed mob, that's just a lie.
Yeah, it is a lie, and there's a couple of lies in that, too. He said he wants to let them all go, even the ones that attack police officers. That's not true. He has amended that. He said people that just went in, he wants to let go. He wants to let out of prison, and he has the power to do that as president. But he said those that attack police officers, that's another story. So I don't believe he's going to let them out of prison because I think that he thinks that's abhorrent, and as most people do. But there's bigger lies that were told. Mm-hmm. There's a couple bigger lies that were told. This whole thing about Project 2025 is the biggest lie in the world. Even I really like him, and I wish I could remember his name, the nerdy guy that does the fact checks on CNN. You know that guy?
Yes.
He said it was a lie.
Yeah.
He never helped write it. He knows the people at the Heritage Foundation, but he has distanced himself from it. And then there was people, I was on a show earlier today, and I'm sure there's still people that believe this. It's up on his website. How can you say that? It's up on his website. It's not. I went and checked. He has something called the 47 Agenda, and it's all of the policies, 20 different things that he wants to do if he gets back in for another term. By the way, when you go to Kamala's site, nothing.
No.
Nothing about what she wants to do. There's not one policy on there. So that is just such an enormous lie that they keep saying over and over again, hoping nobody calls them on it. And so far, the media's kind of been quiet on it.
Yeah. Yeah, and by the way...
Except for the guy at CNN.
Yeah, but as far as the January 6ers, there was one fact-check site I found that said several rioters out of, obviously more than 1,000 they took to court, right, in the arrest. Several rioters had firearms. So several apparently had firearms. That's a PolitiFact review, by the way. But no, I just wanted to go through that one because people weren't necessarily talking about that. The other one I would say is bias by omission. So, or let's say lies by omission. So she left out a lot, China, fracking, which relates to Pennsylvania. But to me, Larry, what I noticed was that she left out the other Donald, meaning her father. She talked all about her mother, and I know the parents were divorced, but in the past, she has talked about her father. This time around, her only living parent, she never talks about her dad.
Right.
And he's not even invited.
You know why?
Go ahead.
Because he is one of the most progressive professors in the country. And everything she believes in comes from her dad. And she is trying to distance herself from every progressive policy that she has embraced over the years. Just last year, as a matter of fact, just months ago, she was embracing those policies. But now that she's the candidate, she's trying to walk it all back. Now, we were fooled by that once before with Joe Biden. Remember, they everybody wanted old Joe because he's a moderate. He's a sensible Democrat. And if he gets in, he'll bring order back. And he ended up being the most progressive Democrat since FDR. And so I would just warn people who may be leaning that way, who maybe don't like Donald Trump for some reason, just be warned, because all of those things that she touched on, a few things. She didn't talk much about policy, but in the speech she touched on a few things. And if you would have to pay for all those things, it would bankrupt the country.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I believe, and what I'm going to say is this: either you believe that her Marxist professor emeritus, who's now retired, and he's, I think, 86 years old, either you believe that she's distancing herself from her Marxist professor dad, who back in the past she has talked about, or you think she has a Daddy Donald complex. Either way, I don't think it's a good look. I think it was think it was bizarre that she says she's her dad is Jamaican, African American, and then her dad, her only living parent, is not there, and nobody talked about it. That is bizarre to me.
Can I give you the other big lie that has been pushed over and over and over again that I'm so sick of hearing, and I'm so sick of nobody pushing back on, and that is the fact that Donald Trump swooped in and killed this immigration bill. Two things are a problem with that. That happened over 3 years after 12 million people already got over the border. It was, they accused Donald Trump of doing that for political reasons. The only reason they came up with a bill in the first place that they promised in the first term and they could have gotten passed, the only reason they did that was for political reasons, so they could say they did something. And if you remember, Biden kept saying, I can't do an executive order. I can't do an executive order because it would just get thrown out. It's illegal. And what did he end up doing? An executive order, which he could have done for the first 3 years. And that bill was dead before Donald Trump got involved. You had Ted Cruz out in front with everybody saying, this is the stinkiest bill I've ever seen, because it allows 5,000 people in a day, which means 2 million would still be coming across per year. So that whole narrative that he got involved and he killed the bill is just an outright lie.
Yeah, and I know that Trump addressed that last night in that quick 10-minute interview on Fox, and then I guess he called into other shows after that, after 11:30 p.m., and Trump did address that in fact there were real problems with that bill. But yeah, nobody in the media is pointing out that this was not something that happened in the beginning of the Biden-Harris administration.
Right.
It happened after they left, after they let in millions upon millions of people in illegally. And so I know that Trump has addressed it, but again, Larry, this has to do with the biased media. and even social media. It's the importance of social media that I think a lot of people don't really understand what you just articulated.
Yeah, I think that's true, too. Now, look, the campaign really starts today. And so everything else, nobody was paying attention. We're paying attention. People that listen to WPHT are paying attention because they're heavily involved in the news. But 80% of the public isn't paying attention because it was summer, and now when they get back to work and they start talking to people, you know, and they come off their vacations, and now they'll start to pay attention. So this first debate is enormous.
Yeah.
And I hope it's one of many, but I have a feeling it's not. It might be the only debate. And this is huge in importance.
And, you know, part of it is that voting in many states, like here in Pennsylvania, a key state, if you think about when the mail-ins and the early voting starts, it's mid-September for Pennsylvania. And so we've talked about that in the past, that I think that's what, you know, the Harris campaign will try to at least push things back until, you know, later, until, you know, well into the early voting to try to mitigate exactly what you're talking about. Because when you see Trump v. Harris, you're going to see a stark contrast.
Yes, I do believe that. Now, everybody talks about that debate she had where she took out Biden or tried to take out Biden. He dropped in the polls precipitously until they decided, just like they did with Kamala Harris, we're going to coronate him and give him the nomination. That she did really well in that debate. Everybody points to that. That was 2 minutes. Like, there was a lot of people on that stage. It's not two people and you have to talk for a half hour to 45 minutes. That's where she's going to fall apart. She's going to be prepared and she's going to sound good on a couple of issues because she has it memorized.
Mm-hmm.
But Trump is so good at throwing people.
Yes.
That is his Jedi mind trick more than anything else. It is. Because he says some outlandish things, and he'll do it right in the mid-sentence of talking about something else, and it just throws people.
Yes.
And so it's really brilliant. It's diabolically brilliant, but it's really brilliant. And so I'm not sure she'll be able to stand toe-to-toe with him in a debate.
No, and that's why. Go ahead. That's why I think.
How about Beyonce not? Go ahead.
Oh, yes, Beyonce. That's all right. Sorry, we had a little. So that's why I think that the daddy complex. There's a daddy complex. There's a little bit of a there's a man daddy complex that I think exists, and the reason I think it plays is that it throws her off, but I also think that it plays to the male vote and young males like our sons, but also minority males, because there's this. You and I have talked about this, Larry. This movement in the media. I mean, it's really propelled by the media and social media, but that you have to apologize for being male. And this is boys, this is men, but especially if you're a white male, but any male, and for being masculine. And it's why, for example, you know, there are some in the media, I think they've backed off this, thank God, who had put down, you know, the son of Governor Walz, who's a cute, you know, teenage kid, and I'm glad that he loves his dad. I thought it was adorable that he got choked up. But what if he were more of a, I don't know, masculine guy who was fist pumping and that's my dad? Then celebrate that too. It's all good. But in fact, the media you saw at this convention on display that more effeminate men are being celebrated by the Kamala and the Democrats, and it's like putting down somebody because they're masculine. I guess unless you're female. That it's not okay. And so to me, I think there's a bigger picture here that plays to a sliver of voters who look at this and say, to the point of Barack Obama during his great speech, which was, I see you. Well, I think you are quite invisible if you are male, and in particular, a man or teen young male who works with your hands, who builds things, in particular if you're a masculine male. a Kamala Harris administration would not see you or appreciate you.
Yeah, we only need masculine males when we're at war or there's a disaster. Then we love them. Then they're really good. Then we need them. But other than that, look, if our house is on fire, climbing up that ladder, I want a masculine male. I don't want somebody that just got in because they had to have so many women or they had because they changed the height requirements and the strength requirements. You know this, right?
Yes.
For police and for firefighters. That was the stupidest thing we've done as a society because I'm not sure who that serves. But talk about effeminate males. I'm not going to name names. And I think you're right about Walls' son. That's hands off. Just leave the kid alone. If he's the children of the candidates, please just leave alone. Barron, Walls' son, anybody else, just that's not fair game.
Oh no,
However,
Barron Trump. Well, the moment he turned 18 and a little bit before, it was so ugly about him, and people there were death threats. I mean, it was horrifying with Barron
well, that's
Trump.
when they made him. Yeah, that's right after they made him a delegate, which is why Melania put an end to that. And I get it, and that's why I think that's why you're not seeing a lot of Melania. She doesn't want anything to do. She's protecting her son, and she's doing what she should do. Yeah. But speaking of effeminate males, I think it was a bad move to have Tim Walz as an assistant football coach. I would, if he was coaching our son, I would be. Here's a guy that ran to be head of whatever the gay club was at his place, and there was only one person. I don't have to be careful. It's true. He bragged about it. There was only one kid. There was only one kid. But let's make a club, you and I. So look God bless him. I don't know anything. I just know what I've seen. And
jazz hands.
And how about the fact, the biggest moment of his life, when he was named vice president and his wife came over for a big hug and she shook his hand.
Yeah, there's something not quite right there, isn't it?
I know you're probably a little uncomfortable with this conversation, but come on, it's It's fine. By the way, it's fine. Just be honest about who you are, because that's all, by the way, a theme of the party.
Yes.
Love who you want to love.
Yeah,
be who you want to be.
There you go.
Tim, I don't think Tim's doing that.
You saying there's a beard somewhere in that relationship? I don't know. No, I really don't know. It's just that this guy, he's so full of lies and so full of it in general. And you just look at his actions. I mean, I thought Pennsylvania was bad, but at least then Governor Tom Wolf, didn't send out and I know it was during the George Floyd situation, during the pandemic as well, but the fact that Walz sent out paint gun patrols in neighborhoods that had, by the way, they were suburban neighborhoods, and they were firing these paint guns at women on porches. Like, that's crazy. And then the snitch line. Yeesh.
Yeah, well, and then just letting the cities burn down. That was
days.
The most awful thing. And his wife bragging that I opened my window so I could smell the burning, which to me was a smell of freedom. And then let's not forget that Kamala stepped in and created a fund to help get everybody out of jail. And so she has no reason to speak. There were many more people killed, 17 killed during those riots. There was billions of dollars of people, small businesses that never recovered because of those riots. And the Democrats just stood by and let it happen. So she has nothing to say about January 6th because she swooped in and started a fund that got $50 million to make sure that everybody got out of jail and got a legal defense. And so that, to me, is one of the most embarrassing things. But I also am very happy that you talked about all of Walz's lies. I thought they were going to pull him.
Yes.
I thought they were actually going to pull him because the lie after lie after lie about his DWI. And look, I'm not putting him down for the DWI. There, but for the grace of God, sometimes when I went home from a party, if I would have got pulled over, I wasn't going 90 and a 50.
Right.
But you know what I mean? Everybody makes mistakes. But the fact that he lied about it, and he kept lying about it, and he made the police look ridiculous by saying, "Oh no, they let me drive to the hospital. They let me drive for a test all the way to the hospital." And the police came out and said, "That's just not true.
Yeah,
that never happened." All the things he said.
Oops, I think we're
You
losing
there?
you a little bit. We're losing you a little bit, but you're right. All the things that he said, and then saying that part of the problem with that, he wasn't really drunk. It was his injury, I guess, from being a combat veteran, or his service, which he did serve in the National Guard, but I guess that wasn't good enough. He had to lie and lie about the fact that he never served in combat as a combat war veteran. It's a sin.
And he lied about his rank.
Yes.
As well. I mean, look, the guy is just a liar, and he's lying about some other things too.
Well, I'm sure that J.D. Vance, that debate will be incredible too. This morning, I want to pivot really quick because the Federal Reserve and the Chair Jerome Powell announcing that, and in fact, they are going to be cutting rates. It'll only be by a quarter point, I guess, which is pretty modest, but they are going to cut the benchmark rate when they meet, again, mid-September.
Yeah, that's good. It's about time. I wish they would have done this earlier. About time. But you're right. The fact that it's only a quarter rate shows you they're scared.
Yeah.
They're still concerned. And the fact that now the Labor Department is saying, whoops, there's 818,000 jobs that weren't created, is a big deal. It's not getting a lot of attention. The unemployment rate is the highest it's been now. He took office. It's 4.3%. So I don't know how that mistake happened. It's being called a mistake. But how do you pump up your job figures by 818,000? That's almost 1 million jobs that weren't there, that they just made up.
Well, it just makes you wonder what other statistics are they lying about? What other numbers are they lying about?
Oh, they've been caught lying about everything. I mean, if the media was doing their job, the lies about especially job creation and especially about cutting the deficit, fact checker after fact checker has come out and said those claims just aren't true. And over again, and I'm sure Kamala Harris will too. By the way, here we are at the end of the month. She promised a one-on-one interview with one of the networks by the end of the month, and we haven't heard anything. Time's running out.
Well, and they're waiting for it. It's heading into Labor Day weekend, and so that's what they're going to push everything off. So look, we're starting.
You think so?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah, they're pushing it. They're going to push it off as much as they can because it does not behoove her. The less she is interviewed or held to any standard, the better for her. It's like, as you've said, the basement. This is just the revision of the basement Biden campaign.
Yeah, it's a metaphorical basement. She's out in the open, but she's actually in a basement. No, this is the most amazing thing I have ever seen. And what gets me the most about it, get to say with a straight face that Trump is a threat to democracy. And yet they
hold that thought. I'm up against a really tough break. Hold that thought. Can you stay with us? We'll take a quick break. Be right back. 855-839-1210.
Hey everyone, it's Donald Trump Jr. Join me and Dom Giordano Thursday, September 12th at the Scottish Rite Auditorium in Collingswood, New Jersey for the next Politics and Pints with WPHT. We will talk all things Trump, the 2024 election, and my father's book, Letters to Trump. South Jersey and PA suburbs are hugely important to electing Donald Trump president. Just head to 1210WPHT.com for tickets right now. Hope to see you there.
Attention! Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt?
Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-580-7766. 800-580-7766. That's 800-580-7766.
At Tri-County Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, get wholesale club pricing for everyone on the 2024 Jeep Wrangler 4xE. Or choose the 2024 Jeep Compass and lease for as low as $298 per month for 27 months. Go to TriCountyCDJR.com to see our great inventory. We're easy to find off the Limerick exit of 422. Visit TriCountyCDJR.com today for more details and experience the Tri-County difference.
Jim Cipriotti at Retire Ready Financial Group doesn't need Google to know you're worried about retirement. Between inflation, rising taxes, and the uncertainty about Social Security, he understands. That's why he offers a complimentary retirement second opinion. It's a no-obligation meeting for you to talk about your concerns about retirement. You want to know if you're going to be okay? Let's find out. 610-894-7415 or go online, retirereadyfg.com.
Insurance and annuities offered through James V. Cipriotti, NPN number 2083768.
When it comes to your home, trust is everything. For 45 years, Kitchen Magic has built a reputation for transforming kitchens with precision and care. From custom cabinets to countertops, backsplashes to storage solutions. And we get the job done fast. In just a few days, your dream kitchen becomes a reality without the hassle. So trust the name your neighbors have relied on for decades. Kitchen Magic. Get your free in-home consultation at kitchenmagic.com and let's cook up something extraordinary.
Guess what, people? Wendy's has new saucy nugs. You heard me. Wendy's nugs now come in 7 saucy flavors. Buffalo, honey barbecue, garlic parm, spicy ghost pepper. You can literally hear your taste buds after every bite. I'm serious. Listen to mine. Okay, that's just me playing with sound effects. For a whole new way to nug, gotta be Wendy's. Open till midnight or later.
At participating U.S. Wendy's, hours may vary by location.
Labor Day signals that fall is fast approaching. Apple picking, fall leaves, and chilly nights are on the horizon. With Legacy Box, you can cozy up and watch something special this fall. Your family's home movies. Legacy Box is the simple, safe, all-inclusive solution for preserving your family's memories trapped on videotapes, film, even photos. After 10 years in business, Legacy Box is the world's largest digitizer. They've helped over 1 million families relive their wedding days, babies' first steps, and family road trips. Just fill Legacy Box with your VHS tapes, film reels, or pictures. Legacy Box digitizes it all by hand right here in the USA, and then sends it back on a thumb drive or the cloud. Future-proof your recorded moments today so you can gather the family and begin the trip down memory lane. Plus, for a limited time, they're offering 55% off. Go to legacybox.com/value to get 55% off. That's legacybox.com/value.
Am I going to be okay? It's the most important question you should ask yourself when approaching retirement. A financial advisor will probably answer that question by looking at just one thing: how much you've saved. At Spectrum Wealth Partners, we believe that's only half the story. The stock market will continue to go up and down, but at Spectrum Wealth, we can help you build guaranteed lifetime income that's not affected by any of it. Let's sit down together and help you answer the question, am I going to be okay? Call 856-322-8686 or online at spectrumwp.com. And tune into the Retirement Spectrum with Alan Cohen Saturdays at 3 here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Advisory services offered through Concurrent Investment Advisors, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Concurrent Investment Advisors, LLC, and Spectrum Wealth Partners are not affiliated companies.
The following is a paid commercial message.
President Biden's big inflation problem is still here. The
The Pittsburgh Post-Gazette reported, quote, more working Pennsylvania families are struggling to make ends meet. But instead of helping us, Senator Bob Casey backed President Biden's disastrous agenda. Casey voted with Biden 98% of the time, including for trillions in wasteful spending. All of that Washington spending made inflation worse, making families pay more. If that wasn't enough, Casey also voted repeatedly in favor of higher taxes on Social Security benefits. That's right, Senator Casey voted in favor of higher taxes on seniors' benefits, leaving seniors with less money in their pockets. Higher taxes for seniors and higher prices for everyone. Call Senator Casey at 202-224-6324. Tell him to put Pennsylvania families first and fix his inflation disaster. Support S575, the Fight Inflation Through Balanced Budgets Act, paid for by One Nation, onenationamerica.org.
At Cherry Hill Volvo, we are offering the C40 lease for 36 months for under $500 to qualified buyers. This is a really fun Volvo to drive. We also have a huge selection of certified Volvos. And what about $15,000 off when leasing a 2024 XC90 hybrid? This is an incredibly fabulous Volvo. It's the Volvo I drive. Visit us here at Cherry Hill Volvo for the attention and respect you deserve.
The forecast for hot summer weather should come as no surprise. And the forecast for high energy costs shouldn't either. PJ Fitzpatrick has a great plan to cool your electric bill. Replace your leaky old windows with energy efficient and budget friendly insulated windows. The PJ Fitzpatrick team, voted best of Philly, has replaced hundreds of thousands of windows. And they've earned thousands of 5-star reviews. Call today and save thousands on your windows and electric bill. Visit trustpj.com today for a free window consultation.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, WPHT-HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Live and local from Philadelphia. The Dawn Stensland Show on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
Hey, there was a manhunt going on in this county. Somebody made death threats to you. Did you hear about that before coming? And what are your thoughts coming down here? Some people told me it's dangerous for you to be here.
I've heard it's dangerous, but I also have a job to do. I heard it's very dangerous. I haven't heard about that. They probably want to keep it from me. Thank you for telling me. Let's get out of here right now. No, thank you very much for saying. But no, and I have great respect for Secret Service, the job they do, including a month and a half ago when they were jumping on top of me with bullets flying right at them. So mistakes were made, and they're going to learn from the mistakes. But I have great respect. But no, I haven't heard that, but I'm not that surprised. And the reason is because I want to do things that are very bad for the bad guys. So I have heard it's very unsafe to make this trip. There were some people that really didn't want me to make it. Yeah.
His trip to the border yesterday, as Trump learned from the media about this latest threat. In fact, there was a man arrested who had put out word that he had allegedly wanted to assassinate former President Donald J. Trump. And this upon the news where we're learning, and I know we reported this earlier in Kale and Company, and I had talked about it earlier in the news, but the fact that we now know that multiple Secret Service agents have been put on leave following that assassination attempt that happened, 6 weeks ago in Butler, Pennsylvania. So we know at least 5 members, and this is widely being reported at this point. I think Susan Crabtree at Real Clear Politics, I believe, broke the story, but we now know that the 5 members include who have been suspended at this point or put on leave, if you will, multiple ones who were with the Pittsburgh field office, and that includes, though, one of the people on Trump's team. That's the latest update. I don't know that we had that this morning earlier, that one of the members actually is from Trump's team. He has defended them consistently. And joining me also is Larry Menti, Emmy Award-winning journalist, and my hubby, Lair Bear. So just your reaction to that, Larry, if you will, on news that finally, after all these weeks, some 6 weeks later, they finally put some of these individuals on leave.
Yeah, they did put a couple of people on leave, and they took some members from Biden's own team and gave them to Trump because he definitely had the C team. Some of them were just embarrassing. I think it's classy that Donald Trump doesn't say that, but it is obvious that some of them were not up to snuff. And so the ones that got relieved, I hope it's the ones that, especially that woman that couldn't get the, oh no, that woman resurfaced again. She was with J.D. Vance, the one that couldn't get her gun in the holster. Did you remember that?
Yes.
Yeah. She's apparently, somebody spotted her with part of J.D. Vance's group. But, he went to Arizona. There were reports that there were threats and there was a manhunt for the person who made the threats. I remember that. I read that before he went out there, and I'm surprised that nobody told him and he didn't hear about it. But if you saw, they had bulletproof glass in front of him and behind him. And then when he went to go shake hands with people in the crowd, they ran over and said, no. And they escorted him out. So
well, in part, there was that
for Donald Trump.
Yeah, in part, there was the woman who fainted, and we played that yesterday, but there was a woman who actually fainted, passed out because it was so hot. And so he went over because he knew there was a scuffle, and he said, is she okay? Get the medics. And they called the medics, and he helped her up. And so that...
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't hear about that. But then the Secret Service got him out of there?
Yeah. Do you not follow me on Twitter? I did put it out. No, I'm teasing you. I'm messing with you. But I did put it out on social media. But they did. They let him, though. They did let him help her up, and they surrounded him and panicked. Because part of this is that there are all these active, threats, and especially after we learned that, in fact, the day before the assassination attempt here in Pennsylvania, we now know, we didn't know it at the time or for a long time, which is weird, but we now know that there was that guy who was from outside the country who allegedly was a hitman hired by Iran or, Middle East terrorists, etc. And so we now know all of that information. And there's basically an active hit out on Trump because he just referenced it. That was, when he says these things, that's what he's talking about. I think he's referencing the fact that he knows there's a hit out on him by those bad guys. When he talks about the bad guys, he's talking about Middle East terrorists in Iran, I think. Yeah,
Iran does not want him back in office. And that can pretty much tell you all you need to know because any money given to them, he's going to freeze every account. It might be one of the first things he does. So you can understand why Iran does not want him back. They like this administration.
Oh, yeah.
This administration has been good to them. And I think I'd love to follow the money because I believe that attack on October 7th would not have happened unless Iran had the money to pay for it.
It just wouldn't have happened, period. I mean, wasn't Biden the one that took them off, Hamas off the terror list?
Yeah, it's more than that. I mean, this was all Hamas isn't going to do anything without Iran saying it's okay. And so, and Iran has been supplying Hamas and Hezbollah and the Houthis for years now, and they had to cut some things back. They were having problems with their own country feeding their people, and now all of a sudden, Biden, one of the first things he does, goes into office and unfreezes billions of dollars that were frozen, and so now Iran's back in business. And I think October 7th is just one of the things you've seen. Many of the rocket launches on U.S. troops in Iraq, and many of the rocket launches on the ships in the Arabian Sea was because of that. So it was a huge mistake. And I always go back to the famous line about Joe Biden. He's been on the wrong side of every major foreign policy decision for decades.
Yep. Amen. I want to talk about one of your favorite things, and this is you live and breathe all of these different stats and the Cook Political Report as well as all the others. So as I look at Cook, toss-ups, Michigan, Montana, Ohio, and then leaning Democrat, and that is Pennsylvania with the Casey legacy name, Casey Jr. So leaning D, according to Cook this morning, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Nevada, with Rosen, looking like they have him winning that one, and Arizona.
Yeah, I would say this about that. The last three polls that have come out, including Emerson, has had Trump ahead in Pennsylvania. So I think that might be a little bit outdated, and they might Cook report, which I love, might be taking some summer vacation. I wouldn't write off Michigan just yet. I think Trump wins North Carolina pretty easily. By the way, Virginia is still tied, and nobody talks about that because it was expected to be a Democratic win. The last poll that came out shows it's still tied. I think he wins Arizona. I think he wins
Larry,
Nevada.
forgive me. I was talking about the Senate race. I apologize.
Oh, yeah, the Senate race.
Specifically Senate.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. Then forget everything I just said. Yes, absolutely. But it doesn't matter because all they need is one seat because they've already won West Virginia. That's going to happen. So they've already won the West Virginia race.
Yeah, that's solid.
That's solid. Now you have to just win Montana. And if you win Montana, you win the Senate. And right now, Tester in Montana is behind. So the last time I saw it was by 5 points.
Mm-hmm.
So if they win Montana, and if they win West Virginia, which they're going to, they won the Senate. It's really difficult for them to screw this up, to not win the Senate, because just the math. There are 8 contested Democratic seats. There are no contested Republican seats.
Yeah, so it is amazing to me, quite frankly, that Casey lives off the legacy of his father.
Yeah, that does surprise me, too. And look, there's no question Kamala Harris helps down ballot. That some of these races that look like they might go Republican are not going to anymore. And there's no question she's had a bump, which is why it's so important to make sure that she doesn't continue this bump. And that's going to happen. Look, as I said, the race starts today. This is when the race starts. And it's really after Labor Day. After Labor Day, it'll start in earnest. People will start paying attention. She's going to have to talk. She's going to have to hold a news conference. She's going to have to do interviews. She's going to have to debate. And the more she talks, the more people don't like her.
Yeah, I agree. And part of it is just talking about herself, the self-involved nature. Look at last night. I mean, even if you look at the transcript of her speech, the written part that was released, the main first part of it, it's amazing to me how much it was all about me, me, me. It's amazing that she's like a millennial, for crying out loud. It's all about me, me, me. And she talks about her childhood and her husband and everything else. And then later really doesn't get into the issues and makes you want to believe, I guess, that she's somebody new and is not the current vice president of the United States of America.
Well, the fact that she doesn't even talk about the last 3 years, the fact that she tries to avoid that has been helping her. Can I give you my conspiracy theory about last night, by the way?
Sure.
I don't think the Beyonce thing was ever going to happen.
Oh, no.
I think that was leaked out just to get a big audience, because this is what she's been doing the entire time she has been on the campaign trail. Those big crowds are not for her. those big crowds are because she's had top pop and rap stars appearing before she gets on, like she did in Philadelphia. And so she was trying to do it again. They were desperately trying to get somebody that would draw a big audience, and Beyonce would have done it, but I think it was a surprise to Beyonce that she was supposed to be there.
Well, so when what was telltale to me was, so she speaks about 35, 37 minutes, and then I'm flipping around just watching, and you could see the crowd in the background depending on which network you were watching, and the crowd stays in place. And you hear Beyonce's, her Freedom song, which the Harris campaign has been given permission to play that. The Trump campaign, they've said, don't use that. Nobody else is allowed to use it. But you see people waiting, and what they're waiting for is they believed the lie that was being told to them, and then social media erupts, and they're still talking about it today, and the Beyonce fans are angry and saying, who started that lie? That's a big lie. I hope that apparently they don't care about all the other lies, but maybe this will resonate with some of them. Maybe they'll say, well, they're going to lie about this for the crowd size and for the crowd to stay. Maybe it tells you this person's going to lie to you about a whole lot of things.
Yeah, they don't care about the other lies because they don't care about the election. This was a whole new crowd. It's a different crowd. It's people that really aren't as interested in politics. Maybe they'll vote, maybe they won't. But Beyonce, yeah, they'll tune in for Beyonce. And so they were all fooled. They have a right to be upset. I think this is a huge setup, and it was the Kamala Harris campaign that leaked that to TMZ, and then everybody else picked it up.
Yeah, and then TMZ comes out and says, well, technically Beyonce was represented because they were playing her Freedom song, but they're not giving their sourcing. What a joke.
Yeah, the whole thing was a joke. I mean, look, we're talking about this probably more than it's worth. Most conventions don't mean anything. You know when the last consequential convention was the Republican convention. I forget where it was. I think it might have been in Arizona with McCain and Sarah Palin.
Mm-hmm.
When Sarah Palin gave that speech, and this is a good thing to remember. You can't care about the polls right now. It was such a great speech, and nobody knew who she was, and she exploded on the scene. And people forget the McCain team was down about 4 points. They went up almost 10 after her speech.
Yeah, but Katie Couric and company took her down. The media took her down.
Yeah, she wasn't really ready for prime time.
She wasn't, Larry, but the media and his own campaign manager, those schlubs, which is why they'll never work on another campaign. Steve Schmidt and what's-her-face, Nicole Wallace, who were the biggest losers ever, betrayed McCain, by the way, but they were complicit with the media, and the media took her apart.
And who was the guy that lost his job over it? Remember the first big interview she did when she didn't know what Bush was saying about
Charlie? It was Charlie Gibson. Charlie
Gibson,
ABC News.
How about the fact that he's forgotten so quickly? Yep. Yeah, Charlie Gibson really set her up. And good for ABC for just letting him go. He didn't last long after that.
I'm always cynical on that. I gotta head into a break, Larry Bear, but I'm always cynical on that. I think maybe they just wanted to replace him with somebody anyway, so it was an easy way to take him out. They seem to be loyal to others.
Okay. All right.
Well, listen, drive home safely. What?
It's a mess up here right now. There was a huge accident, and it's a mess. I'm lost right now.
Oh, gosh.
I'm off the turnpike, so I may not be making it to the event we got to go to.
Oh, my goodness. Well, be safe, Larry Bear. We'll say a prayer for your safety.
I will.
Maybe pull over, get a sandwich.
I got to keep driving. Love you. Bye-bye.
So, Larry Menti, thank you for joining me. I got to take a quick break. We'll be right back. We'll take your calls, 855-839-1210. There's so much other news of the day. We'll get into all of it. Be right back.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Get ready for our Politics and Pints with Donald Trump Jr. Everyone is talking about it. Be with me on September 12th as we talk about the election, politics, and all things Trump. It's huge. Politics and Pints with Donald Trump Jr. September 12th, Scottish Rite Auditorium in Collingswood. Get your tickets now at 1210WPHT.com. That's 1210WPHT.com.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you're always looking for ways to position your operation to create opportunities and move on them faster. With Bank of America, you get access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2024 Bank of America N.A.
Every business faces challenges, but complicated, expensive, and uncertain shipping shouldn't be one of them. With USPS Ground Advantage from the United States Postal Service, you can avoid all the noise. No more unexpected surcharges, hidden fees, or complex rate structures. It's just easy, cost-effective, and dependable shipping. Tune your business's frequency to success and turn shipping to your advantage. Learn how at USPS.com/advantage. USPS Ground Advantage. Simple, affordable, reliable.
We buy any car.
Why sell your car at WeBuyAnyCar.com? Because selling it yourself can be, well, you know.
Okay, I'll give you half now.
And?
No, and just half.
What? Avoid the hassle. Come to We Buy Any Car instead. Get in, get out, and get paid at a fair price.
Yeah, I can't do half. I could probably bump it up to like 50%.
Just go.
Okay.
Get your free online valuation now at
WeBuyAnyCar.com.
Bob's Little Sports Shop, Delsey Drive in Glassboro, is your one-stop shop for firearms and firearm safety. Bob's now offers an expanded selection and classroom area, NRA-certified instructors for all your firearm education. Bob's also has your New Jersey carry permit qualifications and an indoor pistol range open daily. Call 856-881-7575 or go to bobslittle.sportshop.com.
I'm proud to be an American and live in this great land. To keep our country safe and free, we all must take a stand. The freedom that we all enjoy is just one vote away, and if we are not vigilant, it can be lost one day. Freedom is a fragile gift. We all must do our part. To always vote for freedom first is where we all must start.
Remember Bob's Little Sports Shop for firearms and firearm safety. Call 856-881-7575 or bobslittle.sportshop.com. Paid for by Bob's Little Sports Shop, Glassboro, New Jersey.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 103.9 FM.
Kamala Harris formally accepts the Democratic nomination for president on the DNC's final night in Chicago. The Philly teacher who inspired Quinta Brunson to make Abbott Elementary will address the PA Conference for Women this November, and a Jersey Shore shelter for abused animals faces an uncertain future because of confusion over zoning laws.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
Yo, Roy is Ford. What? You know your favorite station is 1210 WPHT.
Your thoughts, your reaction to this week? Thank goodness it's over. The DNC, at points, I think that they peaked early, if you will. They had some incredible superstars at the convention and some powerful moments, powerful speakers. Kamala Harris, in my humble opinion, was not one of them. The Obamas were powerful. Oprah was powerful. There were many, many others. You know what audio I want to get to? And not many people are going to this. And this is a woman who was introduced by Trump. I do want to get to this because it's incredible and heartbreaking as well. But I want to get to some of your calls. 855-839-1210. We have Henry in South Jersey. Hey, Henry.
Hi, Dawn. Yeah, I really liked the other day how President Trump helped that woman in the crowd that had passed out, I think, or had some kind of medical situation. Yes. It really shows how human he is. Then I remembered an interview he gave years ago when he's recounting an incident at Mar-a-Lago, and he says, so what happens is this guy falls off right on his face, hits his head, and I thought he died. And you know what I did? I said, oh, my God, that's disgusting. And I turned away, said Trump.
Oh, my God.
I couldn't, He was right in front of me, and I turned away. I didn't want to touch him. He's bleeding all over the place. I felt terrible. Beautiful marble floor. Didn't look like it. It changed
Never
color.
heard this before.
Became very red. All you have, this poor guy, 80 years old, lying on the floor unconscious, and all the rich people are turning away. Oh, my God, this is terrible. This is disgusting. And, they're turning away. Nobody wants to help the guy. His wife is screaming. She's sitting right next to him, and she's screaming. Thank God for the Marines. What happens is these 10 Marines from the back of the room, they come running forward. They grab him. They put the blood all over the place. It's all over the uniforms. They call it a human stretcher, where they put their arms out, and they help carry him out. And I'm saying, get that blood cleaned up. It's disgusting. The next day, I forgot to call the man to see if he's okay, said Trump, adding of the blood. It's just not my thing. Trump is such a lovely guy, don't you think?
This that you're telling, as I'm looking, I'd never heard this before because I was not really a big Howard Stern. No, it happened, I think, back in 2007 or 2008.
Yeah, but there's 20,000 stories like that, Dawn. You selectively not to listen to them.
Well, you're talking about something that would have happened in 2007, 2008. That was, I guess, a
right.
Stern
and he's much
interview.
more compassionate and empathy now. He's always showing empathy. He's so compassionate.
Look,
he's not the mean guy he was 15 years ago.
Look, here's the thing. If you don't like Trump, you don't like him. It's probably not because of something he told to Howard Stern, that he told to Howard Stern, or that might have happened, I guess, 20 years ago. And so I don't, it was a 2008 interview with Stern, so I don't actually know when the alleged incident happened or whatever. Somebody, I guess, unearthed this at some point when he was running in 2016, 2017. So but
it's all over the internet.
But the truth, so I'm looking it up and I'm acknowledging that this is something that they talked about. I just didn't really remember it. But I mean, do you want me to play?
If that was an isolated incident, so be it. But there's 1,000 other stories like that.
1,000?
I got another question for you. If Kamala Harris had children,
it's
from
pronounced Kamala.
Excuse me.
No, here's the thing I'm going to say about this, and I know different people pronounce her name differently, but it is and this is whoever you support. Her name is Kamala. Just think of the name Mom.
I know. My bad. It's my bad. I don't want to dwell on that. But if Kamala Harris had children from 3 different husbands, she cheated on all of them, and then slept with a porn star and lied about it, what would you guys be saying about her? You think you might dwell on that a little bit?
So your whole reason for voting for any president or any individual is you don't look at their policy. You don't look at what they've been successful at. You look at their personal life and their failings or successes in their personal life.
Exclusively, no. At the end of the day, all these things about Trump, you know what? Trying to overturn an election and starting a coup or insurrection, whatever you want to call it, that's kind of a showstopper. I'm old enough to remember.
Well, wait.
That if you did something like
Henry,
that,
why don't you play what Trump said? I need to play this more often. Can you, at the end of this huge rally, let's just play this, Jimmy? Just for one moment, we're going to pop this down. Let's just play Trump. What did he say at the end of the rally on January 6th? We just aired it this week, and I guess I need to play this more routinely, because for anybody who says, first of all, that he incited or he asked people to bring firearms or any armaments to his rally, that is just not true. There's no evidence of that. And believe me, if the J6 committee that was bipartisan, Liz Cheney, Kinzinger, who spoke yesterday, if they had anything like that, they would have put that forth. We've never heard that. That's number one. So number one, he never asked people to come and do an insurrection. He never asked people to bring firearms. Here is what President Trump stated, and let's talk about words matter, at the end of the J6 rally that day when people were calling into the show. Zioli was here. We were on the morning show. We were live. There were people headed down there early in the morning. And they were saying, I just want to be supportive. I just want to, it's kind of sad. It's the last big rally. And we want to hear the Trump rally in D.C. We're headed down here. There were many, many people who gathered. There was a huge rally. And so this is what he said. Do we have it? At the end of it.
I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard. Today we will see whether Republicans stand strong for integrity of our elections.
Is that it?
Hello.
He had Trump said go peacefully. Trump said go peacefully. Remember this? And patriotically. That was what he said. I've played it over and over again. So I thank you for the call. Let's get to Christian in Jenkintown. Hey, Christian.
Good morning, ma'am. So two things. One, Kamala Harris.
Kamala.
Everyone's saying it. Kamala. Sure. The vice president. However, she's a living, breathing cautionary tale as to why you don't hire people for anything other than merit and capability. Ask any liberal what her greatest accomplishments have been during her vice presidency, and they usually can't come up with anything. If I can just for 1 second deviate from that and talk to the lib caller, what a joke, honestly. You got nothing. You got nothing. And if you want to talk about, sexual history, let's look at Harris's. Everyone knows how she got her job.
Okay. You know what? Honestly, here's the thing. Jimmy Kelly is going to, I think he's trying to do some Simone Biles style gymnastics, trying to get me to wrap up. So I apologize. I thank you for your service because I know that you are a military veteran. Thank you for your service. But truthfully, Kamala Harris, I think it's important to say this is a woman who went to law school, has an incredible life story, has lived the American dream. If you look at, her mom, as she talked about her on a personal level, I think that she has many things that are inspirational. I don't want to get into the politics of or the personal attacks, because we need to look at the policies and the actions, the recent policies and let's just stay within this, maybe within this decade. Those are the parameters that I feel are relevant. And so I'm going to be consistent here, and that I am. I'm consistent with anybody who calls, hey, let's stick to the policies and let's stick to looking at the actions and the policies of these candidates within the last, preferably within the last, 8 years, right? Man, are you ready for a summer road trip? This weekend, we're winding down. I hate to say it because I love summertime with the kids down the Jersey Shore, but we're still in road trip season. That's the truth. We're still in August for at least another week. You got to get back out on the roads. My friends at Piazza Premium Automobiles are always going to help you find that luxury vehicle you've been eyeing. Piazza, with thousands of new and certified pre-owned vehicles from brands such as Mercedes-Benz, Land Rover, Jaguar, Maserati. We're talking about Porsche, Alfa Romeo, and more. Just visit them, piazzapremiumautomobiles.com. Stop by one of their Pennsylvania, Delaware, or New Jersey dealers. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Weather sponsored by Morgan & Morgan.
Should be a beautiful weekend starting today with sun and 82 degrees going down to 62 overnight. It'll be a little warmer tomorrow, 85 with some clouds moving in. More sun on Sunday with a high of 87. 88 for Monday, but the possibility of some rain.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Today, we're the largest injury firm in the world, and I'm thankful to you for trusting us all these years. We'll always be here for the people, not the powerful. Injured? The choice is easy. Morgan & Morgan. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
You've got lots of home projects to tackle. Luckily, the plumbing and electrical experts at Horizon Services are here to help. From fixing leaky pipes to upgrading landscape lighting, Horizon has your back. And right now, get $50 off any plumbing or electrical repair. Same-day service, expert technicians, and a job done right the first time. Need a plumber or electrician today? Visit horizonservices.com, and Horizon's help is on the way.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. Don't let the tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, the #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks that the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, they'll fight to get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Comedian Joe Conklin. Ship snappers moving from Kensington to Delco?
My uncle used to sell his gallstones at the Bazaar of All Nations out on Baltimore Pike. Had a nice establishment here, 3 different dart teams and 4 leagues, video poker, and hard-boiled eggs, pickled eggs. We keep them right out on the bar there.
See Joe Conklin in Delco at the Media Theater with the City Rhythm Orchestra, Saturday, November 16th. For tickets, go to joeconklin.com. joeconklin.com!
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Free speech lives here with Kaylee Company weekday mornings on Odyssey's #1 talk station, 1210 WPHT.
So in just a moment, and this is heart-wrenching. This is a mom who is speaking out and at the southern border, but this was during a Trump rally, and she had received an invitation, but she had initially, she had asked to speak out about this and wants her voice heard. So I want you to hear what she has to say, okay? We'll get to that in a moment, but we've talked a lot about Trump in the past. Okay, and so as far as the Howard Stern interview that he did 20 years ago, that one of the callers who hates Trump, okay, you hate Trump. I don't know what else to tell you. You hate him, and you're not going to vote for him, but are you going to really base that on something that somebody said? And again, I can't find the confirmation. There's one article that he was talking to Howard Stern about seeing somebody who fell at Mar-a-Lago. It's true that he did an interview and stated some of those things. I just don't, at the time, there were even people claiming that, did that really happen or was he even that close? So there it is. But let's get to somebody else who spoke this week, and that's Oprah Winfrey. And we've long talked about the fact that Oprah from Chicago, who for a long time was one of those people who was good buddies with Trump, was friendly with him, was friends with him, did interviews with him. And remember, at one point, Oprah was considered to be in the running as a Trump running mate. People had talked about that. So here is this clip that has emerged with Oprah Winfrey as she's interviewing Trump.
various celebrities in New York, because it was the opening concert in New York, and there were all kinds of celebrities, very, very famous people coming in to be seated, and that when you were seated, you got the loudest applause. People stood up and roared and cheered when you walked in. Why is that? What is this fascination?
I don't know. Maybe I should be a rock star. By the way,
they thought you were going to moonwalk.
He was great, I have to say. No, I did get I don't know why. I really don't know why. I wish I could pinpoint it. I wish I could really tell you why. But I think I've done a good job in New York, and I've done a charitable job in a sense. And Trump Tower has become such a success, and it's as you and I were discussing, it's become the #1 attraction in New York now, Trump Tower. And I think people recognize it. New York people are really proud of it. And people
so you've sort of become like a folk hero. I mean, people, there's someone in this audience, I was reading the audience list, some man who's a businessman, you can tell me who you are later, who went to New York and just wanted to stand by your building, hoping some of the luck would run off.
Is that true? Is he in this audience?
He's in this audience.
We have to find him.
Yeah. And so how do you explain that? Or is there an explanation?
I believe that you make your own luck to a large extent. Well, the word luck is a very important word, very important. There's no more important word than luck, but you can help create or help make your own luck. I walk down the street a lot of times, and people will touch me, and they'll grab for me, and I used to really be insulted because I'm a private guy. I'd say, geez, that's horrible. Somebody punches you in the arm a little bit, and, you're just walking down the street. And then ultimately, I became, in a sense, honored by that because people are
So there's
really
Trump.
looking for something.
And by the way, when Oprah spoke and gave a great speech, she talked this week, she said, quote, "Decency and respect are on the ballot in 2024, and just plain common sense. Common sense tells you Kamala Harris and Tim Walz can give us decency and respect." That's what Oprah said. But I'll point out to you that the Trump campaign was quick to put out on social media, at least one of the letters that Oprah had sent, to Trump when Trump had called her his first choice for vice president, and she had written saying, "Too bad we're not running for office. What a team." Oprah wrote in that letter, the team being Trump and Oprah. And by the way, a little aside, I've long been an Oprah Winfrey fan. I have just, her story, her journey is unbelievable. But her name, did you know this? Her real name, her birth name is a Bible name, Orpah. Did you know this? So many people mispronounced her name as Oprah. She just went with it at one point. She was I liked her because she was a newswoman who had been told by an idiot news director somewhere in the South that she was fat and black and that she'd never make it in the business. And I always rooted for her because as a news person, I just thought she had an incredible story to be someone who, by the way, is a tough boss, because I have friends who were producers under her, but love her, but said, man, she is tough as nails. Somebody who, talk about a self-made person and self-made American, as a billionaire who really built quite an empire and was really smart about it. And part of it was she had her show, but she said she wanted to own a piece of the production company. Brilliant move. But she was somebody who was a longtime friend to Trump and a longtime ally. And by the way, ally. And I would say this as well. Final thing I'll say about that is that if somebody has a problem with Trump going back to whatever time, then I would say, then you should maybe cancel or ban NBC. You should write a letter to NBC. You should sue NBC. Because NBC, for nearly 20 years, made Trump their biggest star. He was in prime time. He not only had the show Apprentice one night a week, but they did the spin-off Apprentices. They did the behind-the-scenes Apprentices. They promoted Trump all the time. So if he was this evil, whatever you want to say, guy, how come a network that I know for a fact vets people in a very tough, thorough way, how come they put him on like they did and really promoted him like nobody else as one, person who was the star of one of their highest rated shows for many, many years? 855-839-1210. Got to take a quick break. I do want you to hear this mom as she speaks about why she will vote for Trump. It's a heartbreaking reason, but I want you to hear it in context, not just a clip. right around the corner. 855-839-1210. Be right back.
Kale and Company, weekday mornings, 6 till 10.
Thanks, Rich Santaro, who said Mama's.
Yes, Mama's on Belmont. That thing had to weigh 12 pounds. Not me, the steak sandwich.
By the way, speaking of that talk, Thomas wrote us last night, and he said, can you please do something about the high schoolish attempt at humor on the morning show?
Oh.
I try to listen, but it's so much like Beavis and Butthead that I changed the channel. We'll stop. We'll get more.
Never me. Mhm.
Yeah, right.
Hey, if you're looking for riveting radio, Mark Levin will be up in about 12 hours.
Oh, boy.
Start your day with Kale and Company, weekday mornings 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. You've heard me talk over the years a lot about FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge Casino, America's #1 sportsbook. Well, we have something a little bit different for you. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with the YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime. So just visit FanDuel.com/Dom to download America's #1 sportsbook. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official partner of 1210 WPHT. You have to be 21 plus, present in Pennsylvania. Full price of NFL Sunday Ticket will be automatically charged seasonally after free trial. No refunds, terms, restrictions, and embargoes apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free, with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Your first successful omelet flip. The creme brulee they're still talking about. Life's most enduring moments deserve to be set in stone. And at Colonial Marble and Granite, a complete kitchen featuring stone counters from the region's most extensive selection can cost just $6,999. That's countertops, sink, and hardware installed, plus cabinetry. Some restrictions apply. See colonialmarble.net for details. Colonial Marble and Granite, the cornerstone of a beautiful home.
I am Judith Krupnik, president of Cherry Hill Volvo. I drive an absolutely fabulous XC90 hybrid, the best of both electric and internal combustion. It's really an incredible Volvo. We are offering a $15,000 discount when leasing any 2024 XC90 hybrid in stock. If ever an XC90 was on your list, now is the time to visit Cherry Hill Volvo. $15,000.
Kids go hard, live without boundaries, play with no fear, and enjoy every opportunity. How they feel tomorrow starts today. Keep them on their toes with proactive steps to be well. Looking out for their total health and wellness includes keeping them up to date on preventative immunizations, allowing them to be their best self every day. Talk to your pediatrician about a vaccine schedule that works for you.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Guess what, people? Wendy's has new saucy nugs. You heard me. Wendy's nugs now come in 7 saucy flavors. Buffalo, honey barbecue, garlic parm, spicy ghost pepper. You can literally hear your taste buds after every bite. I'm serious. Listen to mine. Okay, that's just me playing with sound effects. For a whole new way to nug, gotta be Wendy's. Open till midnight or later.
At participating U.S. Wendy's, hours may vary by location.
Lose 20 to 40 plus pounds guaranteed with NJ Diet. NJ Diet uses DNA and blood work to help you lose weight and keep it off. Tune into their radio show Sundays at 2 or visit njdiet.com.
Hey, Clementon. Yeah! We know your favorite station is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. WPHT.
It was a tender moment as Trump very gently, introduces a heartbroken mother. This is the mother of Rachel Morin, who was the jogger who was attacked, murdered, raped, and then, hidden, her body then hidden, horrifying situation, just ruthlessly raped and murdered by a man who was here illegally from El Salvador. And so her name's Patty Morin. Listen to this is just a piece of it. I put it out on social media. Listen to what Patty has to say.
I really want our words to be heard, and I really want you to take to heart what we're saying. We're not here for a political stand, although we are. We're here because we're losing our moms, our daughters, our children to criminals. And that shouldn't happen. We should be taking care of our country, our people. And the only way I believe that's going to happen is if President Trump is reelected as president. And we close up this border and we put policies back into place that were there before, instead of this open border thing. We're going to end up being a third world country if it continues this way. And I hope, I hope that you will just take my words to heart, because it's devastating to lose a child, but even more devastating when you see the pictures or you see the body and you really understand what's happened to that person. So please take to heart, this is a very, very important issue, and it's one that's either going to make or break our country. It's not so much, it's about America, it's about Americans, it's about us taking and protecting ourselves and looking out for each other. It's about protecting our families. So, thank you. Thank you.
And so at the end, they hug briefly. He thanks her. She has said afterwards, he was genuine, truly wanted to know how my family was coping, and asked about Rachel and showed honest compassion for her untimely death. His words brought comfort to me during this very difficult time. So, by the way, the suspect, 23-year-old Victor Antonio Martinez Hernandez, according to the FBI, according to law enforcement and the Harford County sheriffs, they said this guy who came into this country illegally crossed the border four times, and also had been wanted for assaulting a mom and also a young girl during a home break-in in Los Angeles. And so this guy had been in the clutches of law enforcement and then was one of those individuals. We hear this time and time again because he was in different sanctuary areas, sanctuary cities, sanctuary counties, which I'm reporting from. I'm reporting from a sanctuary city. This entire area, whether or not they want to say it, Chester County, this is you. Montgomery County, this is you. You are sanctuary counties, sanctuary cities, and this is happening across the country. And as she said, this happened 1,800 miles away from the so-called southern border, although Trump in his latest statement said there are new reports of problems at the northern border. And so this is a huge issue. Nobody's talking about this enough, or the human pain, the human toll this is taking on our communities, on our moms and families and children, but as well on law enforcement. Because I keep talking to so many members of law enforcement who are saying they're setting up all these task forces. Now, you have to go because we're a sanctuary. There's no mandate to let you know how many people are not actual U.S. citizens who are involved in some of these crimes. You see, law enforcement, they get in trouble if they put that on the report. You know that, right? And so it's very difficult. That's why when I do report it to you, it's because I'm reaching out to sources and then I'm trying to clarify that. So, and get that information for you. It's not readily available. That's another problem, another lie by omission, if you will. I'm Dawn Stensland. I hope that you have a blessed Friday. I'm off to a high school football game, the first of the first big one this season. So rooting for the team, a beautiful day for it. Dom Giordano is up next. Hey, Dom.
Hey, Dawn, thank you. Sean Parnell is a man of many things. He's leading the mail-in ballot situation here in Pennsylvania. We're getting an update at 12:30, but he was right behind President Trump when the shooting happened and all that Secret Service stuff today. We'll talk with him about it, and the female lawyer, will be with us today to talk about the female prosecutor, the vice president.
Can't wait for that. A great Dom show just ahead.